Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 0, the third consecutive final of the FA Cup on the bounce for Chelsea Football Club. Will it be a third time lucky? Will they pick up that piece of silverware this season? Tuchel's men bounce back from a poor night away in Spain, where they were knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. A disappointing night after nearly coming back, and a slow start to this game. You could see the pressure. You could see the want from the Chelsea players. They knew how that getting to this final was massively important for them. You could see it in everything they were doing, but they were tight. They were hard to break down, and Palace didn't really do too much at all. And as the second half began, Chelsea increased the pressure. They increased the intensity and forced a mistake from Mitchell. Kai Havertz, his normal brilliant self in big games for Chelsea, goes to pull the ball back, gets a little bit fortuitous. Ball falls to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who hits a thunderous strike with the slight deflection that flies into the top corner. And after that moment, Palace looked all but done. And then up steps Mason Mount. Mason Money Mount, as the Chelsea fans call him. And we have to have a big conversation about him tonight when callers come on, when the panel come on. Because he's been with this Chelsea squad for not even 3 seasons yet. This is his 3rd season. He's a young player. In that time, he now has 2 FA Cup semi-final goals, a Champions League semi-final goal, and a Champions League final assist, but a real assist, a cutting-edge ball through the lines to set up the goal that gave Chelsea Football Club their 2nd Champions League title. And for me, I've never seen a player this clutch, this technically gifted, with the outputs that he has, with the level of consistency he demonstrated in many, many games, not be given the flowers that he deserves. We're not talking the greatest attacking midfield player in English football history, Premier League history, European history. No one's making claims like that. But that's the 4th time now that he has been massively clutch and decisive in big and important games for Chelsea as a young man. That's 4 times in 3 seasons that he has been one of the most pivotal roles in his team, making it to a final or winning a final. And that is absolutely massive. And I just think he needs a little bit more credit than he deserves. He really, really does. Timo Werner today, I thought sometimes his final ball, sometimes his decision-making was a little off. But it's another game where he looked far more the Bundesliga RB Leipzig Timo Werner than Chelsea's. Dangerous at times. A little scary for the backline of Crystal Palace. And I want to say about Crystal Palace, they were very good as well today. You know, pound for pound, outgunned by Chelsea. But overall, very, very good. And Gerhi at the back, Anderson at the back, I think Mitchell, I know he made the mistake, but all of them very good. There is no doubt about it. And there's a real talent to that team. Patrick Vieira is doing something great. My only kind of worry for Patrick Vieira is that a number of teams come in like vultures for players, you know, like Elise. Zaha may move on. There's some real talent in that team. Conor Gallagher won't be there next year. Of course, they missed him today massively as well. And I want to say a big well done to him and to Crystal Palace, and Patrick Vieira. They've done a very good job to get themselves to this point. They have a very good job to be at the point that they're at. But Chelsea just too much today. And the big question remains, will they have enough to beat Liverpool? You all know me well enough. If you're new to the Terrace, and bear with me, chance of winning and probability are always 2 different things in my mind. The probability of losing 3 FA Cup finals on the bounce is slim. There comes a point where you're going to win one. Surely you're going to win one at some point. That's what I would think. That's how I feel looking at it. How do Chelsea fans feel? We have a poll running right now asking who will win the FA Cup, Liverpool or Chelsea. Chelsea currently winning that vote with 71%. 71% of the vote. And listen, I will be cheering for Chelsea on the day, anything to stop this quad from happening. And it's, normally I'd want the underdogs to win every single FA Cup game. So I would have wanted Palace to win, but today I couldn't. I need someone, and I know this is going to sound disrespectful to Palace, but I need a team that could stop Liverpool, and I don't think Palace in a final against Liverpool could do it. JP here says Mason Mount improving every game, huge potential. Mason Mount is moving towards his mid-20s now. 23 years of age, I believe he is. I don't know when he turns 24. I didn't check, but I think he's 23. He's got maybe a year to 18 months left until the young tag has to be removed. But he scores, he creates, he has clutch moments. Now, of course, there are two aliens that play football that kind of broke the mold when it comes to clutch moments, when it comes to consistency of outputs. They were scoring and assisting at rates that no players have done before them. And with the consistency that no players had done before them, for a generation anyway. Mason Mount's output levels, performance levels, consistency is very good. I also believe when you make that attacking lineup better, a better player than Lukaku, better player than Christian Pulisic, maybe a better and more consistent player than Hakim Ziyech, you will see a better Mason Mount. Everybody improves with better quality around them. Jordan Henderson is a much better midfielder in Klopp's Liverpool than he was under the previous regime. Of course, he got older and better, but also was surrounded by better quality with a world-class manager. And that's what Chelsea now need to do for players like Mason Mount. For me, he's proven the acid test. He isn't part of the problem at this football club. And I do think it's about, and I know some Chelsea fans have this weird issue because he is an academy player. He's passable. They almost want to play it down a little bit. But Mason Mount he's everything that Chelsea would want in an attacking player. For me, he's in and around the ballpark. Again, technically, a lot will say Phil Foden's better. A lot will say Jack Grealish is better. I think they're all in around the same equation. On technical ability and how a player looks, yeah, eat your heart out. But on delivery, outputs, consistency of winning games for your team, that final pass, being involved in the build-up in goals, being the goal scorer, Mason Mount is doing it on a regular basis. And I think we've got a player there that could continue to get better and better and better and better. They really, really could. Okay. Reece James had Zaha and Ayew running to the right flanks. Reece James was brilliant today as well. You're absolutely spot on there. Reece James was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal again defensively. And listen, the him versus Trent argument, I don't even want to get into Trent. Trent's name doesn't need to come up today. I see a few of you in the comments mentioning it. What I'm going to say is this. Reece James is brilliant. Whether at right back, whether at right wing back, or whether as a centre back, this man has elite potential. He's already playing at the elite level. When I say elite potential, let me explain. Continuing this for a long period of time. Starting at this level, doing it for 2 or 3 years is different from reaching this level and maintaining it for 3, 4, 5, 6. But he has all that potential. Phenomenal today. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, if there are other players you want us to speak about, get your super chats in. Any questions you've got for me, get them super chats in as well, my people. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. Can we talk about Timo? I already mentioned him on the show, but I'll speak about him again for you. What do you want to say, Chelsea fans, about Timo Werner? I want to know what's on your mind, because for me, listen, I'm not going to go as far as to say you should 100% keep him. I still think if the right offer comes in, you should look to move him on. One swift is not a summer make. But credit where credit is due. He was very good today. He was very good against Real Madrid. And he's been very good in a number of games recently. And I think that it would be absolutely, very unfair to take that away from him or not to give him his credit in relation to that, because he deserves that, because he has done well in these matches. But I still think, and I say this with respect, I still think you can find better. I still think Chelsea, it's almost a case of should you settle or should you look to get someone better in? But I want Chelsea fans' opinion on this. You tell me what you think. Loudmouth Football says, I don't understand why you play Aspie ahead of James behind him. I'm telling you, I know why he did. Because when you play three at the back with wing backs, your wing backs are not there to overtly defend. They're not. He didn't want, listen, Aspie is one of the most underrated defenders in the history of the Premier League. He didn't want old man Aspie up against the likes of Esse and up against Wilfried Zaha, because those players knock the ball past a fairly high line, knock the ball past, run, they're going to get turned. He needed Reece James's, not just his defensive abilities, but his physical attributes as well. That's what I would say. Lakaka is absolute dog poo, is what Alexa says here. My guy here, Guyan29, says Mount was great and he'll be more consistent as soon as Gallas comes back to give him competition. Who is Gallagher? I don't know who that is. Oh, Gallagher. Sorry, I get it there in the end. I thought you said Gallas at first. I misread it. Sorry. But no more ice cream for Lukaku. Way too heavy. Yeah, again, he was unlucky with his chance when he missed it, but he's going in the summer anyway. Inter and PSG are looking at him. Check out the Football Terrace Twitter accounts have been sharing that news. A lot of people here with Reece James over Trent. Timo did well, is what's been said here. He was abysmal, but we love him. Okay. Trent first choice in every team is what Bonkers LFC's got to say. Palace had a big chances, but they fell to the wrong ballers, and that Anderson miss. If only Olise started, came on earlier. Yeah, look, I would have liked to see more of him in today's game. And as you say, Anderson had that header to make it 2-1 with about 8-9 minutes to go, including injury time. I wouldn't have said the outcome could have been different, but it was certainly made it exciting. I didn't think he was going to miss that, but he did. Terrible miss. Alexa here says that Timo Werner is better than Lukaku. He's a pain in the ass, especially on the break. Man like Juan says we will stop the quad for all of football, Terry. Listen, I need you to stop it. I need Villarreal to stop it. Listen, I need Man United on Tuesday night to try and stop it by beating. No, not going to beat him at Anfield. I just don't listen. I'll be really blunt about it. I can smell it happening, so we need it to stop. We need it to stop. We need it to stop, people. We know we do. I don't think any team has lost 3 FA Cup finals 3 times in 3 years. I mean, I don't think any team's ever got to 3 finals 3 times. I can't think of a team in the modern era that's made 3 finals on the bounce. I can't remember that. And definitely, if they haven't lost all 3. And this is what I was saying earlier, people. Forget current form and chance. The probability of losing 3 on the bounce when you're Chelsea is massive. And also, a big shout out to Thomas Tuchel as well. That is the third, barring this season's Champions League, where they've gone out in the quarterfinals, every other cup competition he has been in or entered as a Chelsea manager, this mother has made the final. This mother has made the final. That is some gangster It is. It's a madness. Mount in 2022, 21, 22, 46 games, 26 goal contributions. It's excellent. And I know a lot of people don't like stats. I don't really get it. When you're a technically gifted player, when you play very well on the majority of the time, and you're an attacker, the goals and the assists have to be part of that. You're not playing well as an attacker on a regular basis if you're not scoring or creating goals. Madness. Mason Mount is going to be a Chelsea great, no doubt about it, is what Baz1 thinks. What other Chelsea fans think that? What other Chelsea fans think that is going to be the case? I'd love to hear from you, my people. I really, really would. I did share the link with a few people to call in today, but I know it's bank holiday. I think people are a little bit, a little bit busy. If they want to join, if you are watching and you've got the link already, feel free to dial in. Feel free to have your say and come on. CFC Matty, how many times I see you with a new Twitter account? You guys have got to stop posting copyright stuff, you know. Chelsea great is an interesting one. Is a very, 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 very interesting one indeed. He could, if he continues scoring, creating, being consistent and winning trophies, he could definitely move into that category at Chelsea. Of course he could. And he also has clutch about him as well. You think if he was to echo Forget all the other goals. Just think about clutch stuff for a moment. If he echoed this across the next 7 years, the guy's got 4 big moments in 4 massive games for Chelsea in his time, in his 3 years. If he's doing it on average once a year, twice a year, it's gargantuan. It's one of the reasons why Drogba's held in such high regard. Terry, my guy, get rid of Lukaku and Pulisic is what CFC Matty has got to say. A lot of Chelsea fans, I see that on the timeline being the thing right now. Daniel here says, everyone dives, go cry. Listen, yeah, we saw Kai Havertz dive today, and he was rightfully booked. But he just did what every other player does. He just got it wrong. He assumed that, I think it was Guehi was making the tackle, wasn't going to pull out. You see it low. Players are always leaving that trailing leg, yeah. But he got booked. He got done. Simple as that. My guy Edward here says Mount, Havertz and Reece playing in multiple FA Cup finals, Champions League finals, Club World Cup, all at the age of 23 and under. Good futures ahead. And this is very true. And this is something that shouldn't be ignored and shouldn't be downplayed. It's the experience these players are getting at a young age as well that is going to stand them in good stead moving forward. I don't think you can get away with that. You're spot on. We stopped one last year, another this year, is what Edwin's going to say about that quad. Man like Rack in the house, he says Arsenal won 3 in a row. Did they? When? When did Arsenal win 3 in a row? Did they? When? They obviously did, because you're not a liar, Rack. I'm just looking now. Results. When did they win 3 in a row? In the modern day era? Was it recently? No, they won it in 14, 15. Man United they won it 3 and 4 years in recent times. And they did that again. They won it in 02, 03, and then they won it in 05. So they've won like 3 and 4 year periods. They've won 3 on the bounce. Maybe in the olden days. No. But yeah, you're almost right. So you get into 3 finals on the bounce. I don't know if any team's ever done that. I legitimately don't have any team done that. Maybe someone's probably done it. They have to have done. 5th final is what Nav's got to say there. There was another comment that I wanted to read that I missed. It was from Daniel, who's one of our members. I'm trying to find it. Oh no, I already put that one out there about the diving. Yeah, sorry, I didn't miss it. Let's take a little look at some more of these comments here. Man like JJ says, big up Terry, good win today. Hope we can get our revenge against Liverpool in the final. We might have to sell Lukaku, but let's see. Well, look, PSG and Inter Milan are looking at the possibility of buying him back. What that means in real terms is they're going to try and get him at a very cheap price. And if they can get that done, they may buy him. So Lukaku could be on his way out of Chelsea Football Club. There's no doubt. Now, listen, 2,000 of you watching. Let's hit 1,000 likes, please, people. Let's smash that button right now. We played horse poo, but luck it, we won. I don't think you were that bad today. The first time, listen, yesterday's semi-final was high risk, high reward for Liverpool. They opened up and they attacked very early on. That paid dividends for them. It did. City, though, were open as well, and they got caught, and one was a massive mistake, but they were 2-0 down in 16 minutes. I felt like today was going to be a tougher, slower game after that semi-final because neither team were going to risk. Chelsea could not afford to go out today, and Palace were never going to open up from the opening whistle and be expansive when you're playing a team with the quality of Chelsea. It was cagey for the first 60, 70 minutes, and that's very normal for a semi-final or final at Wembley. Yesterday, with what Liverpool did, that's the abnormal bit. That's abnormal. Arsenal, that's how you beat Palace, lads. Don't worry, we'll show you, lads. Nav here giving it to the Gooners after that very important victory for his team today. Football Matters here says, I can't see past Liverpool winning it. Well, of course, Liverpool have a big chance. You can't get away from that. Liverpool are in this. Liverpool are dangerous. Liverpool are potent. They really, really are. But probability, 3 finals on the bounce, to lose them all, it's hard, But they've got to listen. It's going to be a great final. I don't even know what date the final is. I know it's in May. I know it's in May. Let's actually have a look at that. When is it this year? I don't even know. FA Cup final. 14th of May. So that's on the 14th. It's actually not that far. 4 weeks, a month's time. Let's see what happens there. And look, I assume the Premier League's not over by that point. No, there's another week of Premier League football to go. Listen, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Liverpool got bigger fish to fry, which is why I think Chelsea will win it, is what's being said there. Listen, it's anybody's game. We're going to start going to some calls now. We're going to get CFC Matty on. We're going to get Andrew the Winter Surfer on. I've now shared the link as well in the live comments section, and I've pinned it so you don't miss it. If you want to phone in and have your say about Chelsea, if you're a Liverpool fan, you want to speak about this final, let us know now. Get yourselves involved on the Football Terrace, the only place that lets you have your say. First up, Winter Surfer's here. Let's do it. Andrew, congratulations on making the final, my friend. What do you want to say?
Yeah, just saying Arsenal 01, 02, 03, 3 finals in a row.
So they made it in. They made it in 03. Okay.
Yeah. Thoroughly professional performance. I thought it was the sort of like after the Lord Mayor show a bit, after the Madrid antics, we sort of didn't get up to speed with the play. But then in the second half, we just sort of bit more attacking and 2 moments of class really throughout the game. I thought Ruben played well when he came on, and Mount's goal was Mount hit another great goal as well in another big game, so that's good for him. And really, then it was just I didn't think Palace really done much. I mean, they had that free kick in the first half, or that effort from the free kick in the first half, and then Anderson sort of missed that header. But I thought it was comfortable. It was professional. It wasn't like outstanding. And you know me, I always go for the result first and then the performance. So the result is all that mattered today, getting through to a final. So hopefully we're able to, finish this season off on a high, adding some more silverware. But, professional performance. It was good. Good enough.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's literally when you're in semi-finals and finals, it's winning those games. It comes before the performance, comes before everything else that stands up against it. In terms of Mason Mount, a player that's been maligned quite a bit at times by Chelsea fans, steps up again today.
Yeah. I think you have to, if you're a Chelsea fan, you have to distinguish about saying not saying Mason Mount is a rubbish player or anything like that, but be able to criticise if he doesn't play well. And that's because he's at a youngster age, he's developing his game. But he's a good player. Now what he has to do is improve upon season. And that's so now he's got to put performances and numbers together, because he had great performances last season. He's got great numbers this season. I want to see him now put that together with his great performances and great numbers. But the last week though, he's been absolutely superb in all 3 games. He's been outstanding. And I just think now the Chelsea fans, listen, it's now just, I think you have to accept, he is part of this team. People that say he doesn't have a place is rubbish, absolute rubbish. He has a place in this team, no matter what. And really, we should be just wanting him always to improve and always to get better.
Couldn't agree with you more, mate. And do you fancy yourselves to beat Liverpool and stop their quad?
I think, Terry, this team is better when we're the underdogs, and we will be the underdogs in that final. We already proved it remember in the League Cup final, I know we lost on penalties, but everyone was expecting a Liverpool win, or let's say majority were expecting a Liverpool win. So I think we can. I think football karma works in mysterious ways. I hope we are, because I tell you what, Terry, if there's one fan base, it's not all the fan base, it's some of the fan. If there's one fan base I don't want to win the quad, it's this fan base. I just, especially the reason, and you know why? Because there's no World Cup this summer, because we're going to have to hear it for 3 months about them winning the quad, no matter what.
I do hear you on that one, my friend. Listen, my bro, thanks very much for coming on and having your say today. Really appreciate it, mate. Speak soon. Top man. Thank you. Viewers, make sure like buttons are being smashed. Make sure you're subscribing. We do take calls on the Football Terrace, as you know. David will be joining us in a few moments' time to have his say as well. We had another super chat that came through. It says Liverpool got bigger. Oh no, we already had that one. I don't know why it's just come back on my other screen. Look, I want to say this as well. A few people have pointed out, Arsenal made 3 in a bounce. I just checked again. Man United made 3 finals on the bounce in 95, 96. No, 94, 95, 96. But my point was even more deep than that. As a team ever made three finals in a row, without winning one of them. I don't think that's ever happened. That's why I say there's chance of these two against each other now versus a balance of probability. Look at the record of teams that lose their first Champions League final and how they perform in their second Champions League final, if they're in a short space of time. So, yeah, look, I think Chelsea have a great chance of doing this. There's no doubt, but it's always going to be tough because they're up against one of the best teams ever. But I think Chelsea will go into this, as Winter Surfer says, as underdogs, but almost enjoying that in many ways with the pressure being on them. Let's have a look here. Credit to Chelsea. They deserve this final with all the BS. They are playing good. Hats off to them is what Blue Viper's got to say. Where is David? The leader of the haters is going to hate. Leader of the haters going to hate Mount Society. Yeah, David's coming on to answer for his Mason Mount crimes in just a few. I'm going to get David on now, actually, to talk about his Mason Mount crimes. How you doing, bro? You good? You there, David?
I'm good. I'm fine. Happy with the win. But I don't understand. Wait, can you not hear me?
I can hear. I can hear.
Ooh.
Yep. I can hear
you. Me?
Yep.
Yeah. No. You can hear me? Yeah. I don't understand why everyone's coming at me for Mason Mount. I already said, one, I was wrong. And two, everything I said about him was true. I said he'll be better under Tuchel. And all I wanted was more goals and assists. And you haven't heard me complain for a long time. So I don't understand why everyone's coming for me. Whatever. It was a good game. Werner played well. Havertz played well. Mount played well. That is just the front three. It just does have to be the front three whenever we play against whoever. Because to be honest, they're the only three that seem to be wanting to do anything. How Lukaku missed from about 5 yards away in a semi-final, I still don't know, but we'll leave it. The only annoying thing is that Kovacic got injured. And I think Kovacic is like absolutely essential to what we want to do for the rest of the season. But we'll see how bad that thing is. But yeah, there's not much more to say than it was a good final. We expected to win. We're in the final. And now it's on to Liverpool. So
no, I get that. And do me a favor. Whatever you're picking up on your desk and flicking around, can you stop?
Oh, sorry.
It's so noisy. I must have a condition about background noise. My ears just hear it. I'm like, what's he doing? What's he doing? Depends what mic you're using. Some mics pick things up massively. Look, I hear what you're saying there in terms of the front three, and it does need some tender, loving care. How important do you think, though, this FA Cup victory is? Or is there an element of you want to win it? If Roman was here, though, maybe there's some massive pressure because FA Cup's not enough for him. But going into this new era with your new owners, which is looking like it's going to be Todd Bowley, is there less pressure to win it or what? What's it like amongst the Chelsea fan base?
I personally think there's a lot of pressure on this one because I feel like everyone kind of wants to win now. Because I'm one of the people who's like, if we like with the FA Cup, it's like it's cool if you win it. But if you don't win it, it's not the end of the world. However, this time I really do want to win it because we've lost the last two, and like quite frankly, I'm annoyed losing in the final. So, and I think with all those players, I think they're also getting a bit like we kind of have to win this tournament now because we can't keep just making the final and losing at the final hurdle. So there is a lot of pressure on us. I think Tuchel will want to win the competition as well, just keep up his good record. But yeah, no, I think there's massive pressure on us. But I'm very confident that we'll win the FA Cup. Very confident.
So you're part of this 68% on the poll here right now, nearly 2,500 votes that thinks Chelsea will beat Liverpool.
Oh no, we're gonna beat Liverpool. The thing about Liverpool is that I know people will say that they're a better team than us, but we match up very well against them, and I feel like this season, with all the games, I feel like we've been very unlucky not to win them. Not as in unlucky, as in like we've been done over by a referee or whatever. But I just feel like it's literally like very small, minute changes that will change it from like 2-2 to about 4-2. Like if Lukaku and Havertz are offside in the last final, literally by their toenails. Like that's not a tactical issue or anything. That's literally just on the day. If you're just a bit sharper and you realise that you're onside, you stay onside. That's simple. So I feel like we match up quite well against them. But it should be a good final. Also, I forgot to mention as well, Reece James at centre back. This guy's he's so good. Terry saw me on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I can't remember. But during midweek,
Tuesday.
and I said 1-on-1, he is one of the best defenders you will see. And today, Zaha didn't have a sniff, nothing again, and he was playing at centre half today. He wasn't even playing at wing back. This guy is a generational talent. I hate to like whack it on people, but like I genuinely think that he is going to be the best right back in the world. I genuinely believe that. So for me, generational talent.
Look, he defensively, I don't think there's any debate over him and Trent. Trent couldn't play centre back. Like Trent, he can't. The going forward wise, I think there's a bigger gap than maybe earlier on in the season suggested. But what I like about these two is as long as they keep both progressing and maintaining these levels, this is going to be a debate I think that rumbles on. It's got to a point now where one mistake or one top class performance from each, like yesterday, Liverpool fans were so chuffed with Trent because he was very good defensively. You can tell the rivalry. I can tell that Liverpool fans aren't 100%. How do I say it? Liverpool and Chelsea fans are both, and I don't want to use the word insecure, but they both know there's a real debate on their hands here because they're so both desperate to prove their guy right. If no one is talking about AWB anymore, does that make sense? Like when Trent does well, no one's going, what about AWB? Because you know he's not in the equation. So I think this Trent and Reece debate is real. I think it's potent, and I'm looking forward to just sitting back and watching it. I've got no dog in the fight. They're both English. So look, either way, I'm going to end up with two very good right
backs. For me, what's it? For me, when you compare the two, it's like defensive wise, I think the gap between them is so much bigger than it is attacking wise. That's why I'd put Trent over. I mean, that's why I put Reece over Trent. My thing with them attacking wise is that they're different fullbacks in the way they attack. Because Trent is I'd say he's far more creative with the way that he passes, and I feel like Reece is more of a goal threat. So they're slightly different in the way they attack. So again, the comparison's kind of tough. But I just feel like defensively, outright, it's like Reece is streets ahead of him. Like it's not even close.
David with the Shaquan top on, man knows football.
Yeah.
Is that Barkley?
Yeah, that's Saquon Barkley, yeah.
Oh, my guy.
Yeah, your mate.
My mate. Met him at Penn State. Me and Dad, I had to drive David home the other night because it was very late and he missed his like. Do you know the time I got home? I got home at like 4 a.m.
No, you didn't.
Do you want to know why? Because all the roads we drove on the motorway to get to yours, they were all shut in the other direction. So they sent us through country lanes, and I had to go like 62 miles out my way and cut on the country lanes. I had to stop. I was so tired and have a sleep for half an hour and then drive. I got home so late, bruv. It's all good though. It's all good. It was a good night in the studio.
Yeah.
What are we saying here? David, you don't half chat some poo. He's got Terry Tibbs. He's a Liverpool fan. Is saying there. He doesn't like what you're saying.
The Liverpool fans don't like what I'm saying. I said yesterday that Thiago had a good game, and they were all like, "Oh my god, what do you mean? It was amazing!" Like, honest, I cannot wait for this final because we actually we need to beat them because we should have beaten them 3 times this season, and we just haven't. And like even they beat us in the final, but it was a draw, and they beat us on 1 penalty where Kepa just skied it. So it's literally the gap between the teams is this. It's so tight. It's so close.
Sorry, I just saw a message from Prime. Where is it? He says Penn State as in the prison. No, Penn State is in the university. And that university, that college in America, it's got the biggest sports stadium in the world. Yeah, I think it's called Beaver Stadium. So yeah, that Penn, not prison, bruv. My word. Trent doing this for the last 5 seasons. Chelsea fans have to be the most delusional.
But he hasn't been doing it for the past 5 seasons. I think he's been playing for Liverpool for 4 seasons. And in the first season, he only played about 8 games. And I think one of the seasons in the middle, it wasn't as good as like in the league, it wasn't as good as like his other 2 seasons. He's had really good seasons. I'm not out here saying Trent again. This whole polarizing thing of because I say Reece is better, Trent is bad. No, Trent is amazing. I just think Reece is slightly better because he can defend. And for me, as a right back, I think it's important that you defend, no matter how much people tell you that Jurgen Klopp tells him not to do it. Personally,
yeah. Look, I listen. The debate is a fine debate to have. I just think it's again, if someone's saying Trent or Reece are poo, and the other one therefore is better. I can't be dealing with that. Again, that's the kind of debate my 3-year-old daughter would have. That's mummy, stamp her feet and go stand in the corner and pretend to sulk. That's not how football debate should be. They are both top class players. And what I like is they're kind of both different. They've both got different attributes that they massively excel in when you compare them to each other. What will be intriguing, because they're both young, is what happens when football changes again. So what happens when the role of fullbacks changes under managers or stylistically, because games change. If you went back five plus years ago and said that creative number 10s, David Silvas, Ozils, Pete Juan Matas, etc., would phase out, people would have said, you're an idiot. What are you talking about, bro? What are you going to fade out for? Because football evolves all the time, and it has to keep evolving so that people don't work out how to beat you. So,
or what happens when managers change? Maybe when Trent's not, being told to be the main creative threat, what happens to his output? Because something tells me it might go down. And if his output goes down, what else is he doing?
I hear you on that. Theo here says, why are people acting like Trent can't defend? No one's saying he can't defend. Like I'm saying, I don't think you could play him at centre-back.
No. Not even in a back three, which apparently is very easy to play.
Reece being massively clear of Trent defensively is the biggest myth out there. Plus, Trent has been starting right back since the 17-18 season, David.
But it's not a complete myth. Literally, you could put Real Madrid, right? Real Madrid have played both Trent. Well, Vinicius has played both Trent and Reece James, and he absolutely cooked Trent every single time. Well, not every single time, but quite a lot of the time. And on Tuesday, Reece locked him down completely. The only time when Vinicius actually created the goal was when we gave the ball away in the dumbest position, and Reece literally wasn't even in the vicinity. Like Trent will get beat very often, like one-on-one defensively. One of the best things about I know it's again completely different player, but Aspi one-on-one is a fantastic defender. Like people will go like, oh yeah, it's Aspilicueta, it's not fancy, blah, blah, blah. One-on-one, that guy's amazing. But today, Reece James had to go in at centre-back because Tuchel went, I'd rather Reece James go in, who's maybe just as good as Aspi is one-on-one, but also has the physical capability to handle Wilfried Zaha. Because Wilfried Zaha against a lot of fullbacks will cause them problems. Today, he did nothing.
No, I agree. Look, I think they're both fantastic. I really do. Just looking here, says Reece played 14 games worth of Premier League minutes and has contributed 11 goals. Trent has played 27 games worth of minutes and contributed 14. What gap, Terry? Same situation if you look at all comps as well. We're going to add some more callers to speak to David and myself right now. If you want to phone in, the link is pinned. So you're an eye test merchant, just looking who gets cooked.
I'm not if anyone knows me, I'm definitely not an eye test merchant. I sit at my computer and I read numbers. Literally. Again, the thing with Trent and Reece, when it comes to attacking, they attack in different ways. So I believe that Trent's expected assists are far higher than Reece's, but Reece's expected goals are far higher than Trent's. So they contribute in goals, but in different ways. And defensively, you can, no offense, but you can actually just see that Reece is the better defender. I'm sorry. If you want to argue with that as a Liverpool fan, cool. But I feel like most people would agree that Reece is a better defender.
I hear that. We're going to take some calls now. Matty's on with us first. Let's do this. CFC Matty's here. What are you saying, mate?
How you doing, Terry? You all right? Sorry for the new Twitter. I had to get a new one.
Not a problem. What are you here to say, my friend?
Well, to be fair, we played really well. To be fair, I mean, Jorginho kind of almost like the batteries ran out. And then why did we have to bring Lukaku on? It was just beyond me. I mean, I would have taken a one-legged Fernando Torres or a retired Emil Heskey over him any day of the week. But, that's just me. But yeah, we've got a tough game against Liverpool in the final, in my opinion. But it'll be definitely a good final to watch. So bring on the final. That's all I can say.
It certainly will be a tough game. It's going to be. It's not going to be easy for either side. I can't see a situation where it kind of gets out of hand like the City game did as an example. I think it'll be a lot closer, a lot tighter, a lot harder for Liverpool. A little bit. I mean, I'd love a repeat of that League Cup final, which was absolutely sensational. It really was. There's no doubt. Are you going to pick your team to win though? Are you going to put yourself? Do you think you'll do it, or is it too early for you to say that right now?
I think it's too early. I think, to be honest with you, I think Liverpool are a tough side. I also think that we won't. I think we'll also be a challenge for them. Really, I think at the end of the day, I think it all depends on what teams are put out on the day. Really, so.
I hear you on that completely, Matty. Appreciate you calling in, mate, and having your say.
Cheers, Terry.
Top man, thank you. We have a super chat here that says, "Chance before the fact of losing 3 in a row are slim before the fact, but after the fact, it's now simply 1 of 1, and your words are void. Liverpool will body them." I just don't think chance and probability work in that way. Personally, I'm not an expert on the subject matter to be able to articulate it, but I remember City and Chelsea fans towards the end of last season, because they had to play each other in the league. There was the potential of, there was the FA Cup final that maybe you would have to play against each other. And it was a semi-final, wasn't it, in the FA Cup? And then you had the Champions League final, and there was a lot of Chelsea fans. I'd rather lose the semi-final of the FA Cup and win the champion. It was almost like we can't keep beating them. At some point, they will beat us because probability comes in. But I do appreciate the super chat. I wonder what will be the excuse when Reece James gets exposed when Southgate plays a back 4 at the World Cup.
I mean, that would assume that Reece starts up front of Trent, but we'll see.
I hear you there. Zion's with us now. What you saying, bro?
Big up to both. Yeah, you're right.
All good, my friend. What's on your mind?
The first half wasn't great. To be honest with you, we weren't up for it. But I think Tuchel must have given these players a huge bollocking in the second half, especially Jorginho, because he was very, very slow. When he got the passes and trying to get his passes going up to the wingers, to the forward men. So yeah, I'm happy with the result. It was a very nervy type of game because Palace were up for it. You could clearly see it from the get go, and yeah, I mean, Timo Werner, in my opinion, again, did a great performance. It just shows that Lukaku cannot play in this team. I mean, he came on. What did he do? I mean, he had a clear chance to have a tap in to even get some confidence back, but he hits the post. I mean, he just doesn't look like he wants to be here. Let's be real. I mean, he wants to leave, and I hope we sell him in the summer, because even if we get a huge cut on the transfer, which I think we will, there's no doubt about that, I'll still take that, because at least at the end, in the future, it'll be a win-win for us, because he just doesn't suit Tuchel, and Tuchel doesn't like him. So yeah, but at the end of the day, performance was good from everyone in the second half. So we move on. Yeah, another final against Liverpool.
Yeah, mate, listen, I hear a lot of what you're saying, and my friend Zion, nice to chat to you again, my friend, and we'll speak soon. Top man. Thank you. Next up on the show, I'm going to Terry Tibbs is here, Liverpool fan, obviously wants to have his say. Welcome back to the show, my friend. How you doing? You're on mute, by the way. Oh, there you are. You're there. There we go.
Hello, lads. You're all right. Just ringing up. Do you know what, David? I usually like a lot of the stuff that he says when he's not talking about Liverpool. And then when he talked about Liverpool, all logic and sense goes out the window. I mean, if we're being honest about it, if Trent and Reece went up for sale tomorrow, every single club in the world is going to buy Trent over Reece, hands down. Not a single club in the world is going to buy Reece over Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's fact. I agree with David in certain points where he just says that Reece is a better defender defensively. 100%, I'll agree with that. But attacking, it's night and day. Trent's just so much of a better attacker. He's a better distributor of the ball. He opens up play more. He creates more chances. I mean, and to say that Chelsea are the closest team to us and City. They're still not even on the same level. They're nowhere near. They're still, 13, 14 points behind 2 teams that fail to drop points on the regular, that are just like machines. Keep on going. And in order to get that, they need consistency. And don't get me wrong, Tuchel's a good manager. I think Chelsea are a couple of years off, really. I mean, Lukaku, Andy Carroll looks at a steal at 35 million with £100 million Lukaku up for it, doesn't he? That goal that Andy Carroll scored in the cup was worth all 35 million. But today, I seen a Chelsea team that I'm hoping that we get in the final, because if Chelsea play like they did in the first half with Palace, we'll absolutely blow them away before half time, like we did with City.
I mean, obviously, we played Palace, who play far more defensively than you do. So obviously, the way that we set up would be considerably different. I don't think the gap between Chelsea and Liverpool in particular is as big as everyone thinks it is. I really don't. You guys are like a really high-powered, like, offensive team, and like fair play to you. But defensively, you are the third best defense in the league. So I feel like if we can just sort out what's going on up front and score more goals, we don't concede as many goals. And we're only 10 points. So, we're 12 points behind, but we have a game in hand. So it's like, if we win, we'd only be 9 points behind, and that's not the end of the world. That's not a massive gap to close down. When it comes to Reece and Trent, you can think that every club in the world would rather sign Trent. I just think that Reece is more adaptable to more systems. In Klopp's system, Trent, I agree 100%, keep him, whatever. But if you need a more defense, if you have a coach who wants a defensive right back, he's going to choose Reece. And there are defensive managers out there. So I don't think every club in the world, maybe a couple more clubs who want to play this really offensive system would, but I don't think every single club in the world.
See, I don't think there's that many defensive managers out there now. I think the game's evolved. I think what you see now is more, I mean, look at Guardiola the other day playing a double pivot with Foden and Bernardo Silva. I just think that you don't see defensive tactics anymore, apart from the likes of Burnley and stuff like that. You don't see that at top clubs. That's more for lower level clubs. And I see what you're saying, and what you're saying about Reece being more adaptive. But in order to the club, and he's not.
Sorry?
You're cutting out there, Terry. It's all cut off there. Try calling this back. I kind of get where he's coming from in terms of not many top teams play that way, so maybe we're never going to see it. And I think that's part and parcel. We don't know until we know, until things move on from there. But that's why the debate, I think, is going to be absolutely brilliant to see. Mo's with us now. What are you saying, Mo?
Hey, I wanted to ask, how are you guys? I hope you guys are fine. Great.
Good, brother.
Just wanted to talk to Dave about a couple of things that he mentioned about Reece James and Trent. Just one thing is that Trent offensively, I think still the gap is big between him and Reece, because if the gap was not big, and I'm just going to say what everybody's saying, he would not have started as a right center back today. But again, I get what Tuchel is doing with Reece. He is defensively getting very getting a run-in, and he is a superior defender for Trent, and I've seen it against Real Madrid, and I've seen it today. But the other thing I want to talk to Dave about is the style. In that first half, I did not see the style, the Chelsea style. This is something I've been saying over and over again. When I watch Man City and I watch Liverpool, and even when I watch Arsenal when they're starting lineup, I see a certain style for the manager. Tuchel is a great coach in reading games, and this is what we saw the second half. He is a brilliant manager in reading what the opponent did and change it to win games in the second half. But in terms of style and playing his style and forcing his style on the other team, I don't see him doing it every game. But Liverpool, as I said, and we watch Liverpool, we know exactly what we're going to see in this game. And Chelsea fans talk about injuries and stuff, but with Liverpool, it doesn't matter who plays in the midfield. You still see the same thing. Man City is the same. What's Chelsea's style, Dave? What is the style going forward? Defensively, we know how they line up. We know the five. We know the pivot, Jorginho trying to defend, trying to hold the attack, stop the counter. But going forward, I don't see that authority on the games. Every game, maybe a couple of passes because Jorginho can string passes together and the stats go up. But in terms of going forward, I don't see the style. It changes every game. So can you explain to me, as a Chelsea fan, and you watch Chelsea every game and you talk about him in shows and stuff, what's the style going forward? How can they, what's the authority we see in the games?
We don't. This is our biggest thing, is that we need to improve our attack. That's the number one thing in the summer that we need to focus on, because we went the route of let's buy one person and just see if he's that missing piece, and he wasn't. So we do need to improve on that. I trust Tuchel as an attacking manager, because at Dortmund he was a very attacking manager, not as attacking as Klopp, but he was a very attacking manager. So I'm sure he's trying to implement the system. I just don't think the players are clicking in into the thing right well, because it just seems like one player's on one wavelength and the player next to him is on the other wavelength, and that when you have Mount Werner and Havertz playing together, that's the closest you're going to get to a cohesive front line. When you look at Liverpool with Salah, Mane, Firmino / Jota, all those guys know exactly what they're going to do. They've been playing for a long time. They've got that chemistry, so they know, like, it just kind of it fits better together. Ours just doesn't fit very well, so that's where we need to focus a lot of that in the summer. Also, our backups aren't like, our squad depth isn't as amazing as everyone thought it was. We brought in people like Saul, and Saul's not worked out. Ruben Loftus-Cheek today, who actually changed the game probably. That was his first goal in 3 years. So, like, you're looking at it and going, there are some serious, like, improvements that can be made, and there's that gap for him. There is that gap to improve, and considering where we are right now, I don't think that gap is as, like, it will get caught up, because after a year, Reece James is going to get better, Mason Mount's going to get better, Kai Havertz is going to get better.
I feel like with Chelsea, even defensively, they'll become even stronger when people are more scared of their attack, because you watch what happens when people play Liverpool and City. How often do people commit numbers forward into attacks? Because they're too scared of what's going to happen in the opposite direction, and this happens in fighting. When someone's got a knockout punch, people open up less against them because you get caught once, end of the fight. So Chelsea need to make their attack better, and the Pulisic and the Lukaku's and Ziyech's a little purple patch this year. They haven't gone on to that next level that everybody kind of expected. Midfield needs a rejuvenation. Jorginho isn't anywhere near the standard this season as he was last year. And what's going to be intriguing for me, though, is going to be how the new ownership of Chelsea view things, because I'm still viewing Chelsea, and wrongfully probably, through the lens of Roman. And Roman would give, didn't matter if he spent 80 million or you were an academy player. I felt like you had 18 months, 2 years max to prove you were good enough, or they would look to replace you. If not, after 1 year, they'd look to replace you. They did with Timo Werner as an example, even though they didn't move him on. So it's going to be intriguing to see where the standards lie moving forward, whether or not Chelsea almost give, Man United are a great example. We're poor. Arsenal, another great example. Look how long Xhaka has been allowed to be mediocre at Arsenal for. Look how long Fred and McTominay have been allowed to be mediocre at Man United. And they look, Luke Shaw, I know he had a bad legged break, but 7-8 years at the club, one good season. Like, that is what Chelsea, I was always jealous of Chelsea for. If a player had a bad 6 months, 12 months, gone. Or a new guy comes in. So I think that's what we need. It'd be interesting to see how that kind of works. We're going to add Matt into the call. What are you saying, Matt?
Yeah, big up Terry, big up David. Good win today. Solid win. First half was shocking. We had a lot of players shocking. I think Loftus, I'm not the biggest fan of him. He came on, he did the job, but an exception to the rule doesn't make the rule. I still think, we still got to watch out for him in the August and the transfer window. If we get an offer for him, I do see him leaving. I would want him to move on to another club, because I don't see him being this consistent. As David said, 1 goal, 3 years. For me, I thought it was 2 years, but 3 years. Like, again, for an attacking midfield,
said 3 years. It might be 2, but it's been.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, but it's still a while. Like, it's still like for an attacking midfield.
He obviously spent a year away from you as well, so there's always a little bit.
But it's yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's why I think it was 2 years.
I think it's 3 years for Chelsea, but obviously he spent a year or something like that, and he had an injury.
Yeah, but we're like 9 months into the season, and like he's played
yeah.
Matt,
he's
don't you
his
think
position.
Loftus-Cheek has every single thing to be a good player? The physicality, the touch, the style, everything.
Yeah,
On
what is
paper,
missing?
that's
fantastic.
fantastic.
What is missing? What do you think is missing?
Consistency. That's same thing with Barkley as well. Like, Barkley on paper is a fantastic midfielder, same as Loftus, but they just never show up to the pitch. Like, Barkley, he did it one game last season. Loftus-Cheek, he's done it 3-4 games this season. We lack consistency with these players. I think they're fantastic players, but they're not Chelsea standards. I can see them in the Championship doing bits, but they're just not consistent. But to the other points, Lukaku's 8 thumbs up this game. I think I give him man of the match for giving 8 thumbs up for the 13 minutes he was on. And I think this guy's absolutely finished. I mean, I don't even know what to say with him. Other than that, defense was solid. Reece James was solid. It was just a boring game. I'm not gonna lie. Like, people were asking me who's the man of the match. I said I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you any man of the match because
my man of the match was Reece James, and he gave Timo Werner, and I was like, I guess.
Do you
Like,
know
I don't
what?
know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think if you're at the game, you may look at it differently. I think Werner did a lot of work off the ball that the cameras don't necessarily pick up. But look, I actually enjoyed the game, but my team wasn't in it. I love those games. Like the Liverpool game yesterday, the Real Madrid game the other night. They are, of course, they're like pièce de resistance, the best, creme de la creme. But games like today, I like the chess matches. I almost like, because both teams are defensively brilliant today. And I kind of enjoy that as well at times, almost all. And listen, you guys got in because of a defensive mistake and a couple of deflections, and that's part of football. But I just checked Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He last scored for Chelsea in the 2018-19 season.
Jeez, and then he went to Fulham for a year as well. Like, it should have scored a bit more Fulham, like an easier team.
Yeah,
He was in position as well.
Yeah, he scored one goal for Fulham in 32 games.
There's a big rumor that he's going to Lazio. Maurizio Sarri, in the Italian newspaper, they actually are trying to submit a bid to buy him from Chelsea, like just buy him.
Look,
under Sarri, that was his best.
There's been a lot of success from Premier League players, English ones at that, going to Serie A. Ashley Young looked excellent there for a year. Victor Moses went there. They liked him.
Tammy. Look at Tammy.
Tammy Abraham killing it up.
Tomori.
Chris Smalling was very good at the start.
Tomori.
Yeah, Tomori's there. All these players are there. I think it's because the gameplay is slower, and I think what these Italian clubs are realizing is the style of play is slower. So those good Premier League players who are not quite at the elite level, because the game's a little bit slower, it's easier for them. But Ruben Loftus-Cheek is the epitome of the eye test merchants. He looks good doing nothing.
Yes.
The maddest thing is, I've seen legitimately from Chelsea fans that have called into these shows on social media show more dislike towards Mount in the last 2 years than towards Ruben Loftus-Cheek, because Ruben Loftus-Cheek, for whatever reason, passes their eye test. He looks, I mean, it's a good-looking geezer, to be fair, but like, I don't know, that's the only eye test he passed for me, because I see a lot of shoulder drops, a lot of flicks and a lot of tricks and a lot of like little rolling his foot over the ball, and then nothing. I literally once he stopped doing all the little feints, he's Scott McTominay.
No, you're spot on, and then you know, because he's a modern footballer, and they love these type of skills who do these feints and they do this rubbish, but they don't like Jorginho when he's calm, he's patient, and you know they don't like this type of. They like the modern players, and I get what you're saying. I think that was spot on.
I do agree with this comment though. Mount's new haircut is woeful. It's shocking.
How?
Like,
no,
I grew my hair back. My hair's on the way back. But I'd rather it all fall out again than have that haircut. I'm telling you now. Do you know what I mean? So
I said he's had the opposite of Samson. When he cut his hair, when he had the long hair, he had all the powers. When Mason Mount had his long hair, his powers were disappearing, and he's cut it all off. And he's like, I look bad now, so I have to actually play football well. Before I do feel like a lot of players
grow their hair long to try and do a bit of a Beckham, and it never really quite works. You know what I mean? Grealish, you know, since you know, you cut your hair, son. Pull your socks up and start trying to play some football, boy. Chike's on the show with us now. What are you saying, mate?
My man, how you doing, Terry?
I'm very good. What do you want to say?
First of all, I want to say Thomas Tuchel reaching six cup finals in 15 months is a proper process, unlike Arsenal. So, and also, if Liverpool win, I think I actually am praying for Liverpool to win, because at the end of the day, if City lost, they lost to the best team in the world in Liverpool.
Wait, who do you support?
City.
Who do you support?
Wait,
but
if they win the FA Cup, they could do the quadruple.
I know, but at the end of the day, we lost to the best team in the world.
Nobody wants the quadruple. Nobody wants the quadruple, buddy. Nobody wants
it. Have you forgotten? You got oil, we got oil. We're oil brothers. We're supposed to be supporting. Whenever Chelsea
hang on a minute. You don't anymore, bruv. You are
not anymore. Yeah, they wouldn't.
FC, bruv. You're American Consortium FC. You are Hedge Fund FC, brother.
I was brought up on oil, so I was to the oil.
Oh, just like the UK, the oil's run out now. Them oil prices going up, David. Them oil prices going up.
100%, Terry. 100%.
I hear what you say. It's funny, really. I saw a Guna tweet today about how like we can't be losing our heads. We have to keep Mikel Arteta. We can't just like start a new process every 2 years. It's like, when are people going to realize it should never be a managerial process? It should be a club process. But that's another conversation for another day. Who do you think will win Who do you think will win the final, though? Do you think Chelsea will lose 3 on the bounce?
No. I don't think Chelsea. My heart is saying Liverpool because I really want the best team to win, but my head says you can't. You don't lose 3 FA Cup finals on the bounce. So I have to go with Chelsea with my head, but Liverpool in my heart.
I think Thomas Tuchel,
Facts.
Terry. I think Thomas Tuchel is the best match coach in the world right now.
100%.
There
He's
is
a
no one better than this guy in preparing for a match. One match, right? One match, and then reading the game in the middle.
Yes.
Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, they are great on the training ground. They are great in creating players and making them integrate them in a system. They are absolutely phenomenal in getting 120% from a player that can only give you 80%. But Thomas Tuchel is the greatest coach, one of the greatest coach I've seen to read the game inside and flip the table and read what the opponent is going to do. And this is why they reach all these finals. In the league, I don't think Thomas Tuchel will win the league unless he does an overhaul to the Chelsea team. But reading the games, I think he's the best. And this is why Chelsea are in this final. This is why probably 71% of your audience now, your viewers, voted for Chelsea because they know this guy might come with an anti-Liverpool plan in the final and just win it 1-0 or 2-1 or something like this.
I hear you completely. Chika, I want to ask you a question before you go. We're not going to ask you a question. You're a Man City fan, right?
Yes, sir.
And you want Liverpool to win this FA Cup.
Yes.
You have just proven live on the air that you are not the greatest rivalry of all time, my friend. Thank you very much, GK, for coming on, my brother, and having your say. Love you. And all your support and all your super chats mean a great deal to me, my friends. So thank you very much indeed. Top man. Thank you. Because I'd never want Liverpool to win any of it. Like, Chelsea are a rival of Man United in my life. Arsenal have been a rival. City have been a rival. But I would pick them all winning something over Liverpool every single time.
But when we're underdogs as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we're underdogs, we perform. We're evil, Terry. When we're underdogs, like look at Madrid last game. We're very evil.
It's going to be an intriguing one. Ads is here, who is a Liverpool fan. What are you saying, Ads?
Yo, hey, big up, guys. Hey, that guy Chico. Hey, big up Chico, man. Yeah, come on. You know what it is? Today's game, I actually thought Vieira did a brilliant job, man. What they were missing was Conor Gallagher in that midfield to apply that press because I think Eze, how you pronounce it, didn't really have a good game, so he couldn't really impact it. I don't think Chelsea were that great today, but the individual players that they have, because they're more talented than the Palace team, they were good enough to get the job done. But even the final, I think we're a bit of a predicament because for us, it depends on where that fixture list falls. If we're still in all competitions, we're going to have a lot that we're going to need to go through compared to Chelsea, who their season is pretty much done. The only thing they can focus on is an FA Cup. So I can imagine, as someone just said earlier, he's going to prepare them for the game of their lives in order to win that cup. So I think it's going to be a tough one, and their style doesn't really complement our style. But I still feel on the day, I think Liverpool will be able to get the job done overall, in my opinion.
It's going to be a big day. It's going to be a big final. Blaze here says to say Chelsea are years off when they dominated the league for 2 months is laughable. If Liverpool are so good, why didn't they beat Chelsea with 3 games played? Do you know what? I don't think it's years away. Do you want to know how close things can be? Man United, in all intents and purposes, this season should be ahead of Chelsea in the league.
Yeah, in theory.
And in theory, but you're talking, and I'm not talking about all the losses. Keep all the losses. There's four draws. I was just looking at it last night around what's going to happen when Ten Hag comes in, and what I kind of looked at was the fact that if you look at the games, the Villa draw, the Burnley draw, Southampton draw, and Leicester draw in the last couple of months, the better team, the better chances, the better XG, etc., should have won those games. It was a Watford draw as well. Sorry, like the Watford draw was even more shocking. You sort of look at that and think a slightly better structure in terms of team shape. That's 10 more points. If you get where I'm coming from, 10 more points puts us ahead of Chelsea right now. So sometimes you can be 10 points behind someone, but it's fine margins that can improve that. If you make 2 or 3 of the right signings this summer, Chelsea can bridge that gap to the other 2. It's not a million miles away when your clubs run well, when you've got a world-class manager and you've already got a decent core to your team. And I don't think Chelsea are years away at all. I really don't. You are behind them, but I don't think it's like 3 or 4 years of planning and transfer windows and everything else. I think that's too far.
But that's if they get the window right, though, Terry.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
of course. I mean, that's like anything, mate. You know, you guys are in the ascendancy right now. You have a bad summer, you might not retain things next year. That's just football.
True.
Like, you know what I mean? Not happy about City's Premier League title count, but I prefer it if they were top of the league. Real Madrid snatch the Champions League and we win the FA Cup. Stomp out the quad chat. Listen, Dex, I hear you as well. And I was thinking about it today. Real Madrid win the Champions League, City win the Prem, Chelsea win the FA Cup, and then Liverpool walk away with just a League Cup. That would make
Could
me
you
a very
imagine
happy
if
man.
Liverpool end up with one trophy again? I will
Dreams.
cry.
That'll be hilarious. I'll love it. I'll love it.
Dreams.
Listen, it could happen. It could happen, but look,
True.
they're a dangerous side. I think they'll win at least one more thing. I really, really do. Listen, everyone who was tuned in, I'm sorry to everyone else that's backstage that hasn't been able to get on the show. I'm very, very sorry. We are at the end. Back tomorrow. We've got the 12th man out tomorrow. Me and Callum previewing Man United, Liverpool. We've got another 12th man dropping very soon. Egal and Have Hope for Chelsea, Arsenal. We've got the top 6 back tomorrow. We're going to do another phone-in show as well. So much content, I can't even breathe right now, but that's because we're absolutely buzzing to be getting it done. United last year closer to first than Chelsea now. It's a good point, but there's so many other things you've got to factor in. Liverpool's drop-off last year because of injuries and other things like that. No one actually thought we were close. No one thought we were actually better than Liverpool overall. We were in the singular season, but there we go. Listen, smash the like button before you leave, people. Subscribe to the Terrace, and we'll see you.